Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Directors meeting for the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We have our Metro Cable announcement. The open session meeting is videotaped for cablecast on Metro Cable 14, replay on Sunday, May 12th at 9 a.m., and Monday, May 13th at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. Webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. The open session meetings are also available for viewing on the district website at www.metrofire.ca.gov. All right, we come to the public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within district jurisdiction, including items on or not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have any speaker forms?
There are no speakers this evening.
No speaker forms. All right, thank you, ma'am. Our next item, consent. Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll move the consent.
It's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Director Sailors. Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Sheets. Aye. Kelly.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Barnes.
I'm going to abstain actually on that. Thank you.
And Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. We move on to presentation items. We have a 10-year grant summary, and we welcome Accounting Specialist Marie Jones to the podium. This is a received presentation. No action is needed. Welcome, Ms. Jones.
Good evening, Board of Directors. I'm Marie Jones. I am an accounting specialist with Metro Fire, and I work with the Economic Development and Grant Team under the Finance Division. So today I'm going to be showing you an update, a 10-year summary on grants. I know the board hasn't seen any presentation on grants lately, so I hope this gives you a little better overview of where grants stand today. And I want to mention first that we received grants before 2010. However, this report is only going to cover the last 10 years. See if I can figure out how to click this. There we go. So where we get our funding from. This is a list of the funding agencies that Metro Fire has received awards with. This is not limited, this is not showing all agencies that we can get money. However, we also get money from non-federal agencies, which cover just about 3 grants. We received a grant from the Department of Water Resources, which helped us update our emergency operation plan, and we also received 2 grants from Fireman's Fund, which gave us money to buy fire hose and a K9 trailer, I believe. Which one is it? Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. As you can see from this slide, Metro Fire has received 35 projects awarded, and that includes the 35 projects are from 26 different grants. That means that one grant could award multiple projects. So as an example, in 2010, 2011, you see where there is 11 projects. 8 of those projects were just within 2 grants. So kind of looks like we had a bunch of grants, but they were just smaller projects within a few grants. Since our projects cover many different categories, the pie chart on the right-hand side shows the majority of the funding went to staffing. Awarded versus expended. The main point of a grant is to complete the scope of work. So when we submit an application, we state what we're going to do with our money and how much we believe that's going to cost. What we need to do is complete that grant, the scope of work. That's the main point. Additionally, we need to complete it within the grant performance period, and we need to complete it using all the funds that they give us. So occasionally there is a bit of funds that are left over. That happens for many reasons. One, we can overestimate our budget, and then when we do the actual scope of work, it costs less. Or sometimes we can have issues where we can't complete the scope of work, which means we don't claim all the money, which also leaves some money unspent. It's not ideal to have unspent money, but occasionally it still does happen. On the right-hand side, you can see the chart where what we are awarded, I kind of give a breakdown on where all the money went and came from, and you can see we have $190,000 in a 10-year span, which is less than 0.5%, or I think it was like 0.0606% of our total award. Unspent fund becomes money that the funding agencies will reallocate to other people on other grants. For example, they could have taken that $190,000 and tried to find another agency that has a grant application in that has an easy scope of work, and they will try to say, can you take care of this grant, get it done in a timely fashion, then you can have the award. Metro Fire has received 4 grants in this 10-year term, and was able to, all on reallocated funds. And one I would like to note is we had one when Larry Davis was here that once the board approved the grant, we spent $350,000, filed the appropriate paperwork, the reporting, and closed the grant in 3 days. So it's a quick turnaround on most of the time on reallocated funds. The other thing that we spent money on is equipment, and this is the fun one. Here you are seeing all the equipment that we purchased over the years that cost more than $5,000 per unit. I'll let that catch up a little bit. With all the equipment that we received, we also received equipment that helped other agencies within our region. The TICs, the thermal imaging cameras, and the rescue boats were both regional grants. What that means is Metro Fire applied for the grant and awarded the grant, but we distributed the equipment between us and other partnering agencies. And as we do with our own equipment, the grant team has to keep inventory and tracking and monitoring that equipment. We also have to do it with those agencies while they have our equipment. You'll be hearing later on tonight a presentation or agenda item on the SCBA grant. That also is a regional grant, and that will be giving SCBAs to both us and some other partners within the region. Since the staffing and SAFER grant was pretty much 50% of our awarded funds, I wanted to bring a little bit more attention to it. So we've had 3 SAFER grants, as you can see, 24 firefighters twice and 9 firefighters, all for 2 years. SAFER only awards grants to hire firefighters. That's what their goal is. So when we get a grant award, Metro Fire has to then go out and get an academy and hire new firefighters because they have to be brand new firefighters. They can't be on payroll prior to the award. Every firefighter that is been hired with the SAFER grant has no idea they were involved with the grant, and to this day they probably don't know. But I thought it would be interesting to find the stats on where those SAFER firefighters stand today. So right now we have 13 captains and 9 engineers. I just thought that was kind of interesting. So how do we stand overall? Well, Metro Fire had 35 awards. That was on 54 grant applications. 5 applications are currently submitted, but haven't been awarded yet. The process hasn't even started yet on all 5 of those. As you can see, the Shish Gap, grant applications were submitted in October of 2017, and we are still waiting to hear on final approval on those. AFG and Fire Prevention and Safety grants, those award period opens starting in June, and it's a 4-month period. So anytime between June through September, we could get a notice saying that we received the award or we were denied. So that kind of just gives you an idea of the status now. 75% of our grant applications have been awarded, and that is outstanding, comparable to the national average, which is about 20%. I also included on this chart the district match, and what district match is a grant is awarded a certain amount, and sometimes a percentage of that award is needed to be paid by the district. AFG always has between a 5 to 20% match, and they still do have a 5 to 20% match. SHISH-GAP used to be 100% funded. They now require 25% match, and that includes those 2 grants that are in the bubble. We will be paying, if we were awarded those 2 grants, we will be paying 25% on those. The SAFER grant was the biggest change. They used to be 100% funded for the firefighters, and it was a 2-year period. Now the SAFER program is a 3-year, and we have a match of 25% for the first 2 years, and then the 65% on the 3rd year. So with that drastic change, we haven't applied for a SAFER grant yet, not to say that we won't in the future. Part of the risk assessment management for funding agencies is that the staff that's managing the grant to the grantees is knowledgeable on grant requirements. So Metro Fire is very active in these 2 associations. Metro Fire does an excellent job on keeping the grant team educated and informed on new policies, procedures, and requirements which change. And they also are, a lot of the requirements are left to interpretation. So it's really good to get out there and find out what the majority of people, how they're interpreting that. It really helps us when we're managing a grant. And finally, we have audits and reviews, which is my favorite slide. I love audits. Back in 2010, we had our very first audit, and that was on the activities of 2006. We had 15 significant findings within that period. To date, however, we have cleaned all those up, including the 5 grant-related findings that were in that 15. We have not had any findings. We've had not any negative comments. We've had excellent reviews overall every time we've ever had an audit or a review. In our reviews, we've had all the agencies, all the funding agencies have been on our location and done a one-on-one review with the grant staff, and they have all commended the staff's ability to manage a grant, their way they handle their documents and their records, and their knowledge of the grant processes. And that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Are there any questions or comments for staff?
Chair.
Director Gould.
Ma'am, thank you for that presentation. That was wonderful. One of the slides, as you go back, it talked about how we are the awardee, and then we are in charge of distributing equipment or funds to other agencies. And there was a percentage of how much we've been awarded and how much goes out. I think you had boats and other things that you showed. Are there any grants that Metro Fire has been the receiver of where someone else is managing it like you do? My concern is we do a lot of grant writing. We get 75% of the grants we ask for. It's to the tune of $30 million. And we do a lot of the work and other agencies benefit. I wonder if that's reciprocal on occasion when we get to have somebody just show up with a boat or a trailer and we say, thanks, we'll give you an inventory tag, and good people in other agencies do a lot of the work. My sense is we're driving this thing in the region significantly, and while I applaud that, I think we ought to look for opportunities to have some other folks do the good work you do and all the training that you receive with your staff, and then be able to be the receiver of some of that. So I just hope that happens in the future from some of our partners in the region.
We do have, that I can think of, and I don't know all the exact details because we don't manage the grant. There was a Sacramento grant for the city for some water rescue supplies, and that we were part of that regional grant, and we were supposed to get some of that stuff. However, I haven't seen that personally, so I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you, Director Gould. Are there any other comments or questions for staff?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have action items. 1, it's a bid award, RFB 19-03, self-contained breathing apparatus, SCBA, Welcome to the podium. Mr. Jones. Hey, I can't go wrong tonight. It'll be great,
That's an easy one to remember, right? Good evening, directors, Chief Harms.
especially for me.
My name is Mark Jones. I'm the Logistics and Purchasing Manager for the district. Tonight's staff is recommending a bid award for self-contained breathing apparatus, better known as SCBAs. A little history on this project. In 2017, Metro Fire, along with 8 regional fire departments in the area, began planning for a regional SCBA replacement in order to apply for the Regional Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program under FEMA. In September 2017, the district posted a request for information to SCBA manufacturers. We received presentations from 4 manufacturers in October of 2017: Scott Fire and Safety, Mine Safety Appliances, Draeger, and Avon. Our regional evaluation team comprised of representatives from Metro Fire, Cosumnes Fire, Forest Hill Fire, Lincoln Fire, Placer Hills Fire, Rockland Fire, Roseville Fire, and Sac County Airport Fire. And South Placer Fire scored the presentations and invited 3 manufacturers for further manipulative skills testing. The 3 were Scott Fire and Safety, Draeger, and MSA. The hands-on skills testing was conducted at the end of October 2017. Draeger had pulled out of the process for further consideration. Scott and MSA were then invited to participate in live fire testing, which was conducted in February 2018 with representatives from the partner agencies. This evaluation team met to discuss scoring, and ultimately Scott Fire and Safety received the highest overall score as a preferred manufacturer for the regional SCBA replacement. On September 21st, 2018, the district received notification of a grant award in the amount of $4,177,340 from FEMA's fiscal year 2017 AFG program, and this was accepted by the district's board on October 11th, 2018. The grant will fund the purchase of 636 complete SCBA units, including face pieces and cylinders, and an additional 328 face pieces. After the regional partner agencies finalized the specifications of the Scott SCBAs, the district released a bid for pricing on February 13th this year, and it closed on March 8th this year. We received bids from 3 vendors: All Star Fire, Cascade Fire, and Municipal Emergency Services, known as MES. After calculating the pricing, MES was a low bidder at $4,494,605.02. This amount will be added to Metro Fire's fiscal year 1920 preliminary budget for the regional purchase. Of this total, $3,448,951 will be funded through the grant award. $580,878.12 will be reimbursed by the regional partner agencies, and $464,775.90 will be the district's responsibility. This has been a long process to this point, and at this time, staff recommends approving the bid award to Municipal Emergency Services in the amount of $4,494,605.02. That concludes my presentation. I'll answer any questions if you have anything.
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we adopt.
Well, we can go ahead and get let's go ahead and get a second for the motion, please.
Second.
All right, the motion's been moved and seconded. For any questions, comments?
So Scott doesn't sell directly.
Correct.
You've
They're
got
the
to go through-
manufacturer.
You've got to go through a middle.
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Director
Madam Chair,
Barnes?
thank you. I just want to thank the grants team that saw this and the forward thinking, knowing it was going to be a $4 million price tag, and to get most of that consumed by that grant. Well done.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir. Any other questions or comments? All right, the motion has been moved and seconded. Will you please call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Director Sailors.
Aye.
Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Sheets.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Madam
very
Clerk.
much.
Well done. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Our next item is President's Report. The only item I have to report is I was able, with senior staff and fellow directors, Sheets and Sailors, attend the Public Safety Luncheon, an annual event here in Sacramento, hosted by the County District Attorney's Office. Anne Marie Schubert did an excellent job blending awards for public safety officers, as well as recognition and a terrific panel discussion with community members on moving forward with a building type of relationship with the community. It was very well attended and very well done. And that concludes my report. Next up, Fire Chief's report.
Good evening, directors. I'd just like to say thanks to Marie and Aaron. What a timely time to talk about grants and then move right into an SCBA grant. But the group of, like you said, is the foresight of being able to put this together. A lot of work went into Director Gould, that you said, of pulling the region together, the statistics, the numbers. About halfway through, a department pulled out, so that changes everything, and recalculations and putting that back together. They really make Chief Shannon look good.
Totally.
Great job. A couple of things going on. Retirements. On May 1st, BC Forrest Rowell, after 30 years, retired. A lot of you might have known Forrest is really involved with the USAR program, a lot of deployments. Right at the end of the year, last year, we asked him to come on staff and work on a document to really document our command system. So good luck there to Forrest. Captain Jamie Poole, 28 years of service. The last day before his retirement, he was in a staff meeting. He was at EMS, and up to his last day was working on staff and very involved. Captain Christopher Rusicki and Fire Inspector Michael Olsis had 17 years on, and Christopher had 25 years on. Everybody retired on May 1st. Computer System Supervisor, Art, stand up. Art's getting a promotion on May 7th, or when is that, today? May 9th. Art is now the Computer System Supervisor. We also promoted tomorrow on the 10th, 2 new captains, Ryan Polis and Dat Pham. Because of Art's promotion, we now have recruitment out there for Computer Systems Technician. So those are kind of the recruitments and promotions. Kind of some meetings. I spent this last week in DC, went back early. We had a meeting in which the International Associations of Fire Chiefs had asked me a while ago to be involved in a committee on the urban search and rescue and pulling state resources and federal resources together. The great benefit for us is the OES that has just a ton of state resources, and getting a better relationship with the FEMA teams that we have been working, but doing it nationally. We had a great trip. Myself, Director Gould, Director Kelly, and Director Rosali, along with Jeff Fry and Greg Casantini, got back last night from cap to cap. We had about 19 different meetings that were scheduled for us, local, state, and federal. I'm sure they will talk more about each one of those, but when I look at the investment in cap to cap and then the relationships and the opportunity for the meetings that we're able to put together, it was really, once again, a great program. Next year is the 50th program, 50 years. Just real quick, and they're not here tonight, which I totally agree with, but Jeff Fry, his work ahead of time, kind of coming in a little bit late, but helping, working on the papers and taking the position that Chief Johnson had stepped away from, in pulling together the public safety team, and then Greg Casantini, just a lot of prep with helping with Jeff, and then just the logistics of once we got there of where we're at and where we're going and everything else. The very last thing is the Friday night on May 17th, Academy graduation of 19-1. It's at 6 p.m. at the Citrus Heights Community Center. So May 17th, 6 p.m. That ends my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the chief? If not, we'll move on to operations report. Welcome Chief Bridge to the podium.
Good evening, directors, Chief Arms. I'm Eric Bridge, Deputy Chief Operations. We remain consistent over the last few weeks. As we've had with our partners at AMR, we've had close to 2,800 dispatches with the 73% transport time. We've had about 12 structure fires, and we also had 1 water rescue during that time frame. Outside of that, the thing that's been keeping us busy most of the week has been our Battalion Chiefs Academy, which has been very successful this week. We have 17 candidates in there, and it's been extremely beneficial for them as they're getting a good, clear picture of what Metro Fire's expectations are of a battalion chief. So Chief Harms and I will be there with them tomorrow morning to finish the week out, and then we'll have a few openings and hopefully have some new battalion chiefs in the field here in June sometime, with all going well. So that concludes my report. It's a little short tonight. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, I guess there are no questions for the chief. Thank you, Chief, appreciate it. Next up, we have Firefighters Local 522 report. Welcome to the podium, Mr. Trevor Jameson.
Thank you, President Jones, directors, Chief Harms, and staff. Great to be here. It's an interesting time right now at Metro in the suppression side of things. We had our annual 3-year bid last week. There's a lot of discussion throughout the ranks of how often to do it, when to do it, how to do it. But it happened. It does cause quite a little bit of stress on the district, on the operations side and the local side. But I'm pleased to announce that it all worked out. And I think through a lot of cooperation and a lot of phone calls, I think overall it worked out very well. And I do appreciate the dialogue that we're able to have for the membership in 522 to the operations side. So I do appreciate them willing to work with us on that, as our members do appreciate it as well. So, one thing I want to say and just stress, and we've been out here at 522, we've made it a goal to be more politically active out in the whole region. So we're out there more. I was out in West Sac last week down at their event. We were holding events for politicians, Citrus Heights politicians. We're down at the state capitol the other night with Jim Cooper. We're trying to build those relationships that we can help drive. Also, I mean, the needs of our membership, but also the needs of Metro Fire. It's on the forefront of our mind. So as we go on, we're going to continue to actually stress that even more in the region. Again, I always appreciate the dialogue I have with each and every one of you. I appreciate you returning my phone calls, taking my meetings. And I need to stress it. I know our contract is not done, but I believe we're getting close. I thank you for the dialogue. Thank you for moving through this in a positive manner. My members want to get this done too. And I know you do as well, and I know the fire chief does, but I'm hoping that we're almost there, and I thank you for working with us. But I'd like to get this thing done too, so thank you very much, unless you have any questions.
Are there any questions? All right, sir, thank you very much. Next on, we have committee and delegate reports. The executive committee met tonight, and we established myself and Director Woods as part of the 2x2 with the County Board of Supervisors, and any director is welcome to be the alternate. It's an open invitation, so that way we're covered no matter what the schedule. All right, next meeting to be announced. On to item B, Communications Center, JPA. Welcome to the podium, A.C. Wagman.
Good evening, and thank you, President Jones, directors, Chief Harms, and staff. Tyler Wagaman, Assistant Chief of Operations, speaking on behalf of the Comm Center Board this evening. The board last met on April 26th. We had 3 action items. We ratified the agreement between the Teamsters 856 and the SRF ECC dispatchers. 2, we ratified a purchase order for hardware to help stabilize our COBOL CAD system. And 3, we ratified a contract with Northrop Grumman to upgrade our current CAD system to the Command Point platform. Our next meeting is actually tomorrow. It is a special board meeting. It'll be held at 9 o'clock at 3121 Gold Canal in Rancho Cordova. That completes my report, unless you have any questions for me.
Okay, seeing none and hearing none. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next up, California Fire and Rescue Training, JPA. Deputy Chief Shannon, welcome to the podium.
Good evening, Director Jones. We have not met since April 18th. After that extensive report last meeting, the JPA is moving forward, doing good work. We will meet June 20th, 4 o'clock across the hall. And on a side note, I do appreciate that Chief Harms, that is an absolute correct comment. And with their families in the audience tonight, I would absolutely like to say, you guys they do a fantastic job. What they do is very technical, very detailed. Most firefighters don't have that ability, me included. So it is with great pride, I always say that Mark Jones and Courtney Moore and Marie and Aaron do a fabulous job. So sorry to get that in on top of the JPA, but I just thought that was important.
I think that's definitely appropriate. Other duties as assigned, Chief. Good
Yes,
job.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for Chief Shannon? Oops, too late. He's already sat down.
I can get back up. It might take a minute.
All right, thank you, Chief. All right, moving on to Finance and Audit Committee. Director Kelly.
The Finance and Audit Committee will meet again 2 weeks from this evening, the 23rd. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
The 23rd, here in these chambers around 5:30.
All right, thank you very much. Policy Committee, Director Gould.
No report.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to board member questions and comments. I'll start all the way to my left tonight, and we'll invite Chief. Just got a promotion. Director Barnes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. Apologize for missing the past 2 board meetings, and thank you all for picking up the slack and doing that. I had the pleasure on Monday night to go to Station 59 with Captain Ellis and his team and just talk to him about some of the grassroots issues that they see forthcoming as far as from their level. It was neat. Unfortunately, I don't get by my stations very often, but getting by there, they were able to entice me to come back the next night with a meal. They said they were going to cook some prime rib, which they did, and I brought my daughter too. It was interesting how my daughter came back with a joke, though. It says, what do firefighters and police officers have in common? Both want to be firefighters. And she said, Daddy, I don't understand that. I said, me neither. But I thanked them for their hospitality. It was absolutely gracious, and they were wonderful to my daughter as well. So thank you to the team there. Fortunately, next Friday night, I will be work for my day job. I'll be in a conference in Louisville, so I will not be able to make the graduation. So congratulations, everybody that's doing the graduation. And also, we talk about getting into the communities. We talk about the DA luncheon and the community outreach. And I think we do it a lot more than we get to brag about, right? We see our members out there all the time. I know out where I live, we have food truck Sundays, so they know they don't have to do dishes, so they come out. But they're always interacting with the community. And so it's neat to see that. And I hope the public actually appreciates that. They want to be seen more than just when people are in crisis. Also, congratulations to the retirees. This week is very near and dear to me. For the law enforcement memorials, the state memorial that we had, and then we have the national memorial going on right now. But to see the partnerships between the fire industry and the police industry and that support, especially in these times of remembrance, it's truly special. And then finally, from my charity, the Pig Bowl Guns and Hoses that I run, we are coming up with a considerable donation that we will be providing at the Tropical Affair for an announcement, so for them to use as they see it. So that's that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Director Barnes. Director Wood.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As long as we're going to pile on the cops, I'll tell you a joke I heard from Engineer Condit at the every 15 minutes performance. So what was the difference between a cop and a firefighter? 5 push-ups.
So it's either pull-ups is usually what I hear.
Yeah. So thank you again. And Director Barnes had mentioned the Tropical Fair. It's coming up June 22nd. Everyone should be there. Look forward to seeing you all there, including all 9 of us. And Marie, just want to thank you for that performance, or for your presentation. I mean, it was absolutely phenomenal. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Director Wood. Director Rosale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Very briefly, I just wanted to comment on the work that Jeff Fry did on our cap-to-cap experience. The guy was phenomenal, did an amazing job of coordinating that, and I truly appreciate all of the efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Rosale. Director Gould.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Like my colleague, I just want to thank all the staff that participated in getting us ready for Cap to Cap and all the work that has to go on there. And I can just tell you that some of the comments, some of the meetings that we shared and had really provide us with insight of where Metro Fire needs to be and the things that we need to be considering as a regional leader. They were just super powerful, and I know that we're considering making some tweaks to that process, and I know they'll pay off for the citizens of this region quite handsomely. Just to have those personal relationships in the highest levels of the federal government is worth every dollar that we spend of our taxpayers' funds to get back there, because it's those personal relationships that provide us the $30 million plus the expertise of the staff. And so I'm really happy to see that we continue to do that and strengthen it and really make it go. But the staff were phenomenal. There is one lesson that really resonated with me when we were there, and that's that when the chief says he'll meet you in the library or in the lobby at 9 o'clock in the morning for coffee, he really means about 9:25. Nothing else, Madam Chair?
All right, thank you. Moving on to Director Sailors. I'll pass. Okay, pass, thank you very much. Director Kelly?
I too appreciate the leadership of the executive staff, certainly the Chief Constantini, and Mr. Fry provided excellent leadership while we were in Washington, D.C. And I don't think I could say it any better than Director Gould, but clearly it's amazing when you consider the highest levels of federal government. Individuals are very familiar with Metro Fire, and it's a positive thing, to say the very least. And thank you very much for the report that you provided for us tonight, Ms. Jones, and how nice that your family showed up.
Excellent. Director Sheets?
Good evening. I also wanted to say thank you for the presentation items. Those were very informative and great. Congratulations to all the retirees and the promotional recipients. I look forward to attending the graduation and the tropical affair. It'll be my 3rd year, and I'm excited.
Thank you, Director Sheets. I did have a couple items. One is I was remiss in referring to the Public Safety Luncheon. Of course, Director Barnes was there, showing full leadership for both fire and police, integrated services for public safety. Thank you, Director. And congratulations to the staff and directors who formed our team at Cap to Cap, continuing to build on our relationships both here and in DC. Job well done. Thank you to each and every one who participated. All right, with that, is there anything further for the good of the order? If hearing none and seeing none, I hereby declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you.